Ron,
Brandon.
welcome to Reparadise.
Thank you.
You can come out here.
Thank you for having me aboard.
Sweet. Well, you ready?
Right.
Ready to do a little tour of the shop and see what we're doing?
I'd like to see what it's all about. Let's go do
Come
it.
on in.
Wow, it's a lot bigger inside than outside.
Yeah, welcome to Reparadise. It's like a little door to Narnia, you know, you kind of walk through and in this big, awesome, fun space. Lots of cool rigs and yeah.
How big is this place?
So we expanded last year, so our two shops combined now are just under 20,000 square feet. So yeah, the vans take up a big footprint, trailers take up a lot of space to work on, and because we're doing everything in-house, we also have large wood shop. We also have a large metal shop where we can do a lot of our welding, TIG, MIG capabilities. For our trailers, we used to make a lot of our own frames for them, chassis components, stuff like that. So yeah, now on the other side, we've expanded to be able to do CNC and prototyping, stuff like that.
And that's in wood, CNC in wood?
Yep.
So if you're fabbing everything, or most everything, how many guys do you have? It's quite a crew.
In the shop and in front, we're a little bit over 20.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow,
so
that's amazing.
takes a big team.
So all of these vans, I'm seeing all these beautiful Sprinter vans. Are they all yours? You're doing them spec, or are these got customers? And
Yeah, everything we do is customer based.
Okay.
We do generally keep one or two vans per year, which we have one in the back corner we'll look at here in a minute. But those guys are our prototypes, kind of the evolution of our Saga components, our interior cabinetry, any kind of design evolutions that we want to make, doing some stuff with electrical. So we kind of need our own base to play around with.
right, so you can work out the bugs and then offer something.
Yeah.
So every So again, every van I'm seeing then has their custom client. You're doing individual different things on each and every van. There's no it's not like repeating one thing over and over again.
Yeah, we do have, we have kind of both levels. I mean, we go from extreme, which we can check out this van right here, which is a mobile veterinarian clinic, which nothing really is off the shelf to create that, all the way into something like this van, which the interior actually has a lot of our, what we're calling our Saga components.
Okay.
And Saga is kind of an offshoot of Reparadise, which Reparadise is our install and build center for vans and trailers, and Saga is our design and product. And so all of our cabinetry and kits for vans, those are all Saga based. And so the nice thing about what we've created is it's modular. So if somebody says, I want that, but I don't want that, and I want this overhead, but not that one, you know, you can add and kind of take away and create a lot of what they're looking for just by our individual components that we've created.
So a guy like me that has a little bit of skills in woodworking and building, if I wanted to build a van for myself, you've got your Saga stuff as things I can look at and say, I want that, and that, and you ship it to me, and then I put it together and
comes in it comes in a box. I mean, our idea was, how can we make this IKEA level easy, right? And so, like with our interior components, you open a box, everything's CNC'd out, it's cam and dowel locking system, and you just watch a how-to video while you put it together, and
I like it.
just
I like
toss it in.
So this is high skill level stuff and tooling and did you just wake up one day and decide I'm going to remodel vans?
I woke up one day and knew I wanted to do something different than I was doing at the time.
Okay.
But yeah, it was actually my dad that got me inspired. So he ended up, we'll try to make a long story short, but he ended up purchasing an Airstream while he was living in Atlanta. Got super excited about it, sent me all these photos and stuff via email about 12 years ago now.
Now this was a old
78, yeah.
78, okay.
So he bought a 78 trailer the same year I was born. And him and my mom got super excited about getting this done. He got about halfway through it and ended up moving out here to Salt Lake. And in the 6-9 months while he was working on this, I was doing my research on the computer and getting inspired, but also seeing a void, that there wasn't a high level. There was only a few shops across the United States that were doing kind of modernizing these instead of just fixing the fridge and replacing an air conditioner, but actually gutting them and doing these modern, like cool, fun redesigns on them, you know. And so, yeah, I, you know, saved up some money and worked in the warehouse that I rented on rigs, and also worked, you know, nights to pay the bills, and slowly started convincing all my friends to quit their jobs and my family members to move out here. And now, almost 11 years later, we're where we're at today, what you see, so.
I love it, and I just think about like I said, everybody in here is skilled people. This is, you know, so you've got 20 people that are skilled people. That's, you know, that alone is something to really be proud of, that to produce this high level of stuff and also to provide, you know, jobs for you know, people with those kind of skills. That's fantastic. Looks like you got a trailer over there. That's the kind of thing you're talking about, right?
Yeah, so if you want to check this guy out, this is the unicorn in the shop right here. This is kind of a cool story behind it also. It's a 1963 Airstream, and the owner actually lives in Florida and brought it out to us. Has a 1963 International truck. And this was his father's truck and his father's Airstream that he got when he grew up in this camping. So his mission for the past few years was to get both of them fully gutted and then rebuilt, and start using this for himself, you know, rebuilt. But so this, I mean, as you can see, starting at that front end, I mean, we rebuilt this entire chassis, and basically starting on the exterior from this rivet line to the rear curved panels, we replaced this exterior skin all the way around the top, all the way around to the other side. It's got the original door, windows, and front end caps. Other than that, I mean, starting with that chassis and frame, we built everything here in the shop.
So the actual frame as well.
Yep.
That's amazing. I'm looking at these jalousie windows. Those are historic. Those are original, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
still crank out, still work. Yeah, you want to check it out?
Yeah, that's neat.
So a bit of a mess, still a work in progress. We got about 2 more weeks on this before the owner flies out here and drives her home. But
how, is it 2 more weeks? Wow. This is beautiful. So you're not just putting the old one back together like to make it look like it was. You're modernizing. That's cool. I like that. So the cabinets you built here in the shop?
100%.
Wow. That's beautiful. I love that the hinges on that stays up. Man.
Yeah, even the countertops, we got the raw slab and cut it to fit.
So you fabbed the slab on site too?
And I mean, everything, it's, you know, from the water tanks in here are all custom. You know, even the door, like you're not gonna be able to run to Home Depot and pick something like this up. So this is all made here.
Oh, that's solid too. And the frosted, man.
So, you know, this is, I would definitely say at the higher price point of what, you know, you can expect if you purchased off of Craigslist an old trailer like this and had the dream of, you know, putting this all back to original, or, you know, whatever your sense of design would be. I mean, this is definitely at the higher end of cost and time investment. You know, something like this is an easy 2,000-hour project.
Wow. Wow, that is amazing. So looking around in the shop, I see lots of vans, and this, I think, was the only Airstream I've seen. You may have more out back, but it looks like maybe the clientele is shifting more toward the vans and less to the Airstreams?
I mean, not for lack of demand. So there, especially during COVID, I mean, we were getting phone calls and emails, you know, almost daily. People excited about, you know, something they found, or they wanted to, you know, upgrade this or do a whole shell off and blah, blah, blah. But around 2019, right before COVID, when we were doing quite a few vans, we were still doing custom 100%. And it was more or less falling in line with how we were kind of moving through trailers.
Right.
And it can be very frustrating working in like a custom design every single time. So I kind of tasked our team with coming up with at least a base kit that we would be able to move through pretty quick. At least, you know, it's like from wiring harnesses to floor kits that are CNC'd out to wall kits that are CNC'd out. And then our cabinetry, like I talked to you about Saga. And that's where Saga kind of started blossoming. It was just like, you know, we got to be able to move faster through, because all the vans are the same body, right?
Right.
Whereas with all of our trailers, every single year and every single model and company is 100% different. So you're starting from ground zero. So once we started getting into the vans and actually moving through them a lot faster, both the guys in the shop were having more fun working on a brand new off the assembly line, clean shell versus something that's been sitting in the field for 40 years, developing rat colonies. So, you know, and also the design element of it's fun. I mean, being able to sit there and go, hey, we see a void here where something cool could be developed. Like, do we have the time and energy that we can put towards creating something? Or, hey, like, I've thought of new ways that this could work, whether it's a cabinet or a location of something, a bed, you know, just shifting the space around. You have a lot more freedom to work in a space like that and develop evolutions of an initial creation than you do something like this where, well, every single one's going to be a different shape, size, width, and height. So it's been a lot of fun to work with the vans in that aspect as far as design and evolution.
Right.
But we'll always have some trailers in here. I mean, we do have a backlog.
So if somebody's got an Airstream and they're passionate about it, you're still there for them.
Yeah. And so we've got some contracts. We've got some fun stuff in the works. You know, some people that have Airstreams that want to do toy haulers, and we'll open up the back clamshell and you know, things like that. So now we're just a little bit more selective. So we're bringing in projects like this is a cool, fun project. I mean, working with the owner and the story behind it, like, kind of lends itself to us going, yeah, let's do this. Like, that's going to be a blast.
This is so exciting. Looking at this, just beautiful.
So yeah, I mean, people out there that got the cool, fun projects, it's kind of nice to be selective in that way, to go like, the crew and us, we just want to work on the stuff that we're going to have a good time working on.
Wow, it's amazing to think about what all goes into that, from the frame, the skin.
Yeah.
But one of the things I noticed in all these vans and this is the power. So not only wiring to plug these things in to run everything, but in this day and age with everybody wanting to get off grid and stuff, there's batteries and solar and then making it all work together. Do you bring in a company to do that, or is that in-house too?
No, everything's in-house. It was also one of the things that, you know, as we started working on these 11 years ago, there's been a large transition just in the public thought of renewable energies, right? And when it comes to whether it's your own car, but also travel trailers and vans. So nowadays, people that want to, you know, grab one of these guys, grab one of those vans, even a teardrop trailer, one of the small pull behinds, like, they want to be able to go and boondock or be off grid for a week at a time. They don't want to have to go to the store and get ice every single day. They want to run their fridge. They don't want to have to go and refill their propane tanks. So yeah, for years now, we've been kind of at the front edge of designing these kind of what we're calling future-proof power systems. And so we can check out some of the stuff we got going on. We actually
I'd love to see what you got.
We've got a visitor that's still here in the building that just dropped off a wiring harness for us. And the unique thing about this wiring harness is that we're utilizing a company here in Utah that is a military contracting company. And we're working with them to develop our wiring harness to military spec. And one of the bonuses of that, besides it's just drop-in ready, and it's, you know, everything's labeled and ran, and it moves really fast. One of the big things is our connection platform. Okay. So we'll try not to make this too complicated. We'll do a quick run by on it, but this is your this is your wiring harness end that would come out of your van.
Okay.
So this is the ends to every single thing that you would have in here that's 12 volt. Your USB plugs, your overhead fans, your water pump, your lights. I mean, any little things would terminate right here. It pops right out of that wall. And then these are the two whips. And these guys, we actually end up wiring to a power plant that is all bench built, all completed, all programmed. We drop it right here over this wheel well. And then once you plug this guy in, which takes about 20 minutes, then you're just gonna unplug these two caps and they twist lock together and you're done.
So what you're saying then is you're having, it's early stages, you're just designing this, but you're coming up with a harness kit that you're gonna have in a box.
Yep.
And when you start a van, you're going to pull it out and it's just gonna, like you've already started doing here. Like how many days do you got into getting to this point?
For the prototype?
Yeah, just right now. I mean, like I'm looking at all this wiring. How long you got into, how much time is this?
So when we pulled this out of the box, we had the whole van preliminary wiring done in about 20 minutes.
So what I'm seeing now
Yep.
is 20 minutes.
Yep.
But of course this is already built. That's
Yep.
the beauty of it.
Yeah. So traditional vans were for a robust system. I mean, there's definitely different levels of power, needs.
Right.
Somebody in Phoenix, Arizona are going to have completely different needs than somebody in Vancouver, Canada.
Right.
But somebody that has a robust power plant and have high energy needs, which is what we've designed our kit for. Generally, van companies, they're looking at 40 to 55 hours from start to finish in order to complete all your wiring, from your consumption side to the power plant to putting your little light switches in and
Right.
plugging your lights in, all that stuff. Our goal with this design, once you open your box and you set your power plant in, is to have a completely finished system in about 3 hours.
So that would be like for a company that does this the way you do, you're talking about having something available that they can buy in a box from you, and all they have to do is drop it in. It's as close as you can get to having the van come out pre-wired and ready to plug and play. Wow, that's amazing. So you got all the wire running everywhere, and lots of wires, obviously running lots of different things. What about the other two aspects of it are, obviously this would be, you could plug it into a wall somewhere or a RV park.
Yep, solar
and battery.
Yep, solar and alternator, so we can do an auxiliary alternator.
Didn't think about that.
So you can have high idle charging, so you can really just push a bunch of juice into your batteries. The thing with vans, they don't really have as much real estate on the roof as some of the larger trailers.
Right.
So we try to put as much on there as possible, but really it's just kind of, helping keep the batteries alive, keep a base charge going. Your real juice comes in off the secondary alternator. But with a big enough battery bank, I mean, the goal is store as much power as you can. And then you're not as nervous about always having to put power into only 100 or 200 or 300 amp hours of storage. So one of the things that is kind of a part of our design with this whole package is a 48 volt battery system, lithium battery system. And so
48 volt lithium at the start, meaning you don't do a 12 volt and then, okay.
And so we've been working for, about 2.5 years now, directly with a manufacturer in China, and they've been producing batteries mainly for Australia and Germany. They've been in the market for about 15 years now, and they were really trying to get into the US market. But we needed to help develop a battery that works specifically with the components that we install into these vans.
Okay.
So the batteries aren't the same as, say, you're just going to plug in at your house and you're going to go straight from your solar DC, come in, and then go into your battery bank, and then it exits and goes into an inverter, so you can convert it into AC. This is a lot more complicated because
So
you
this
do
doesn't
have,
look like, it's not like a car battery that I can run
Right,
to the
yeah.
store and buy. Do you have any of those here?
Yeah, we've got a whole system over here that we can go
Let's
check
take a look.
out. All right, so this guy right here is our power plant. So basically, this is the smallest package with the most amount of power on the market.
Smallest package with the most amount of power. Now, I'm a novice to this. Where are the batteries?
These guys right here. Yep, so
so
these are,
there's 4 of them?
yep. Yeah, they don't look like your traditional.
No, I would not guess those
car
about it. I
or
thought there's
RV
some kind
battery.
of plug-in electronics.
So there's a lot of unique features on this, and to really dig deep into that, I would grab Chance, who helped design the system, and also the batteries, working directly with the manufacturer. But it's one of the reasons that we feel very strongly about this. We didn't just jump on Amazon or call some of our suppliers and be like, yo, we want a battery to plug into the system, and it's just like everybody else's system that they offer on the market. We actually help make sure that the quality control was in our hands. So it's pretty nice. It's you've got each one of these is equivalent to like 200 amp hours. So in this unit, we've got nearly 10 kilowatts of power just in this small frame. Sits over the wheel well, so you kind of take up that dead space. The nice thing about 48 volt is, we figured that in a van versus using 12 volt batteries, which would have taken up about this much space, the whole unit traditionally, we would save about $500 just in copper, because your wiring gauge has to be so much larger. So we get to slim that down because we have less resistance. Also, your recharge time is way faster. So this whole battery bank, about 800 amp hours. If this gets sucked dry, whether you're running the air conditioner all day, you're down in southern Florida and it's just hot as Hades, you can fire up that van and you can recharge this whole battery bank in no time. I mean, so much quicker than you ever would on 12 volt. It's, so the recharge time is faster. The space savings is immense, especially when you're talking about something that all you're doing is thinking about space on the inside. And then it's all, communication is all through Bluetooth, so you can watch your system on your phone. We're also working out a contract right now to be able to monitor these here from our facility. So if somebody has a problem and they're calling us on the road and they're like, oh man, my system is not holding a charge, or here are all these problems, we're actually able to go on our our desktop, pull their system up and see their system live. As long as they have cell phone coverage, we can see how the whole thing's interacting. We can help them troubleshoot it.
Wow, it just while they're out, and you said they don't have to make an appointment and
Right.
get it in, at least to figure out what's wrong with it.
Yeah, and help get them going.
So this, I'm looking at this frame and different parts and pieces all neatly put together. So you were saying that these, because of the design of them, and instead of using 12 volt, you've made them a lot smaller. So I would assume would be lighter weight too, right? I mean, not if you're having. I know lithium batteries are lighter to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But
So this takes the place, the 40 that you see here, takes the place of 8 traditional batteries.
so what would look like a car,
So
truck battery,
the
car?
car size. Which is why, normally the ones that use the 12 volt, it would come up to about here and it would take up this entire section.
So is this something that you're just, this package right here, that you're just doing for your custom vans, or is this something you're gonna actually, that an individual or a company would buy a kit?
Individual would be pretty tough.
Okay, because there's a lot. Okay.
Yeah, the programming and everything. But our goal.
So this would only be for a manufacturer, not for like a guy like me that doesn't know it. I'd want to bring it into you and have you dial it in, which I know I would, because for me, I'm gonna go, I want to have a guy on the other end of the phone when there's a problem.
Yeah, and I mean, our goal, one of our big goals this year is setting up our B2B relationships, and really part of our design in this is both serviceability. Like, we want to make this easy to access and work on, so you can actually pull the whole unit out if you need to, but be able to support other builders and installers out there. So this wasn't solely designed just for us to be able to install here. Our thought process during the design was, if we're going to build this and we're going to get this in the other hands, in hands of other manufacturers and builders and OEMs, then we've got to have it in a way that makes sense to them too. And then if there is any issues or any parts to replace, super quick and easy.
So going back to the harnesses you're developing now, where you're talking about those two whips. So are you talking those two whips, that's all that would be hooked to these?
Right, so it's kind of hard to see because everything's buried, but this stack of wires that come out right here, they basically meet in the wall. So you'd unbox this, and the two short whips are already attached to this whole unit. Okay. And then the wiring harness that fits in the wall would come out the other side, and you just click, shove this in, zip it down, and then all you have to do is put your lights on the end, your ceiling fan wires on, and a couple light switches, and you call it a day.
The base, it's 12 volt, it's 48 volt, but what's the total power availability through this 4 batteries?
So the nice thing is this guy is also scalable in this system and beyond it. So the frame that we built for this, you can install just one battery. And each of these batteries,
you can scale down to just one.
So each one of these batteries is about the equivalent at a 12 volt battery that you'd see would be about 200 amp hours. So usually those are about 100 amp hours each. So it's like 2 batteries in here. So right now we've got 800 amp hours at 48 volt in here. But like I said, we can move beyond this size and this frame, and we can also move into different aspects, right? It doesn't have to just be for vans. This can be designed for boats. It can also, and I mean, we've installed stuff like this into big travel trailers and to the large motor homes like the Prevost, which at that point you'd be talking about expanding this bank, double, triple, quadruple the size if you want to run one of those rigs fully off grid. One of the things that we're kind of talking about and playing with is designing a system like this that would even go into semi-trailers. Because think about all the semi-trailers that they've hit their hour mark and they have to pull off and they need to chill at a rest stop for the next 8 hours until they're allowed to be on the road again. They're running their vans to operate their air conditioners, their fridges, their TVs, or their heaters. With a system like this, they'd be able to operate all that and keep their rig off. And you pull into those rest stops, all you hear is rigs running all the way through there.
All the diesel off. Good for the
operate
environment.
All of this. Yep.
Maybe even for their bottom line. So, so this being scalable from the design, I understand. But what if I had a bigger rig and I had you design a system install for me that was maybe 3 of these banks, and then down the road I added something or decided any more? Could you just plug in another 4, or do you have to? Is there a lot more? Does it have to be done from the beginning, or can you scale it later?
Yeah, we can keep scaling this. Okay. I mean, at that point, you'd want to make sure your inverter was able to push enough power for what you're using, that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, we can kind of infinitely scale this guy if you need it. So let me know what you're getting into, man.
I'm thinking. So all of this electrical is absolutely amazing, but I'm going to be totally dependent upon you to design it, install it, and keep it working. But you mentioned that you build all these cabinets in-house, and you've got your own CNC. That is something that I do know a lot about. Can you show me your CNC shop?
Yeah, let's jump over there and check that out. It's some fun stuff. So on the way over, this is kind of the heart of our wood shop. And the CNC we definitely use for prototyping, our design center, stuff like that. But kind of got everything we need to do the walls, floors, ceiling, cabinetry, countertops in any of these vans and trailers. So everything from our table saws and our vacuum systems and our planers and our joiners and series of fest tools and air scrubbers. So yeah.
I like the dust collection, the air scrubbers. I had these in my shop. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
Otherwise, dust on everything.
Yeah. All right, so this is the other side of the shop. We have our CNC set up here. We have our automatic edge banding machine set up here to help kind of streamline a bunch of our processes and take our designs from concept to prototype, and then hopefully to a point where we're mass packaging and getting it in people's hands. This guy's just a ton of fun to work with. I mean, it's just a toy for adults, you know? So it's cool to watch it run and produce and get your components out and move them into kind of your build stage pretty quick. I could show you real quick some of the stuff that we produce off this. We got it sitting over here.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit earlier about some of our Saga components. So if somebody got online and they wanted to order an overhead cabinet, they would get a box like this that shows up. We'd send them an email with a little QR code, and they're able to pop up a how-to video. But everything in here is all cam and dowel. Everything's labeled which part it is. This overhead does have drop-in integrated light right here. It's all pre-wired, just drops in right there. You just have to make the final terminations and connections. But this is also made out of, if you look at the core right here, this is made out of our ultralight that we bring in.
I can tell that right off the bat. I knew what that was. Beautiful stuff, and you can really tell.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that something that solid is so light. So with a kit like this, if I ordered this, I get this, every bolt, the wiring, everything is there, and there's a instruction video that I watch and put it together. And that's it. Done.
Exactly.
Everything is in the box that I need.
Yeah. So the exciting thing about this is for a couple years now, we've been refining this system. You know, everything from our design and working with the CNC to how to package stuff to even the nightmare of shipping stuff out all across the country. And I think that brings us to why you're here with us today. It's like,
so
tell us about your smart system.
I'm looking at this. So Brandon, with what you're doing here with your Saga brand, where you build these cabinets, have all the holes cut, all the dados, everything ready to go, and all the hardware in the box, packaged, shipped so that somebody can assemble it and get this beautiful finished cabinet. I'm thinking about the Paulk Smart Benches. What do you think about cutting the Paulk Smart Benches on your CNC, packaging them like this, putting all the hardware in so that a person could order them, put them together and have a functional bench in just a couple of hours? Is that something you guys could do here at Reparadise?
Oh man, I'd love to.
Smart Woodshop fam, what do you think? Do you think we should ask Brandon and Reparadise to make some smart workbenches so that you can order them and have a bench working in a couple hours? Let me know in the comments down below if you want me to do this.